Oh, yeah, setting the mood for episode 19 of Stacey King's Gimme the Hot Sauce. You know, Stinger's been doing a great job on the audio board.
Yes, he
We
has.
brought in some real high-class help
professionals.
today. Rich
Professionals.
Wyatt,
You got some professionals today.
professional engineer,
Yes. There he is,
audio
Rich. Say hello.
specialist running the board.
We don't cut any expenses here at Gimme the Hot Sauce, okay? I mean, we don't have anything to
guy's
pay Rich. Maybe a couple of peanuts, some
Hey, pizza to mix.
peanuts. And then, wait a minute, we had John. What do we call this drink?
what do you call
John?
it?
We got the bars open, everybody.
The bar is open over there, but what is this drink?
This is called it's called the proper pineapple or a risky pineapple, and it's got the proper 12 in it, and some Kraken, and all kinds of fruity delights, right, Kinger?
We'll have to get our guy Al Foreign to give us the introduction, proper number 12.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this about the old proper 12 drink, whatever this is he's got. You know, it's one of those drinks that hits you kind of slow. But when it hits you, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm on my second one right now, and I'm like, hey, man, I might have to call Uber.
Yeah, it takes drive home safely. That's a whole new meaning.
A whole new meaning. Man, Stinger.
Yeah.
Give me the hot
sauce.
Oh, sriracha.
Yeah, this is episode 19, and we couldn't pay the royalties, so we couldn't run any Steely Dan Hey 19. But there have been some great 19s throughout the course of sports history, going way back in the old time days. Johnny Unitas, the old high top black shoes, number 19 for the Baltimore
Sandlot ball.
Colts. Willis Reed, the famous Game 7 where he came off, hit a couple of jumpers, limped onto the court. You think of guys like Tony Gwynn.
Ooh, the great Tony Gwynn.
Robin Yount.
Robin Yount.
Closer to home, our guy Jonathan Taves, the captain. We hope he can get back on the ice and join the Blackhawks, who've had a surprisingly good season. So we're very happy for people who have found us on YouTube. All our shows going forward are going to be on YouTube, and we appreciate you driving up the subscribers. We hope that continues in the weeks ahead. We want to thank all our fans overseas as well. We've got a big audience in a lot of European countries and Australia. Rumor has it we're the #1 basketball podcast in Finland. So how about that?
Wow,
awesome.
Finland.
So I
I
want
want
to say
shout
hi to
out.
all our listeners
Home
and
of the
viewers.
finisher.
And we're looking forward to get Lowry Markkinen back. We'll talk about that in our opening segment. So thank you to all the people who are watching Gimme the Hot Sauce as it continues to get bigger and improve.
Poland is huge, too.
Yakshimash. Nobody says anything to that. I don't have any other Polish speakers.
Shinowski.
Dobrze dziękuję is the correct response. So,
Yeah, okay, there you go.
all right. So we got that out of the way.
I'd like to say a
John has a special
shout out to my man Phil Link, the monster graphics for the behind you, our new logo, and the animations that we're using on the Gimme the Hot Sauce on YouTube. Monster Graphics, Phil Link, you're a rising star, and we appreciate you having you on the team here in the Gimme Hot Sauce team.
Well, I got a special shout out since we're doing special shout outs. You don't mind?
No, go.
What am I asking you for? It's my show. Anyway, so
you got your banner.
My banner here, if you guys can see that banner behind Stinger, my boy Pete Gonzalez down in Orlando made this beautiful banner back here to kind of highlight some of the things that we had, and
all the King
sayings, and we've got our little animation guy. So shout out to my boy Pete Gonzalez, who did a really good job on this banner and has taken us to another level. We're looking professional now, people. We're not looking like we're coming out of our back of our trunk,
Selling mixtapes.
I like the trunk, but now we're moving up. We're going from the trunk to Cadillac, and now we're moving up a little bit, like the Jeffersons.
Are we on
moving
vinyl?
on up
To the deluxe apartment.
Yes, at the top.
We're moving on. We finally got a piece.
I don't know. It's this drink, man. You got me thinking of Jeffersons right now.
The show's always a lot different when we tape at night. There's no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
John's looking to star in the remake of Cocktail.
Oh, man. No. I ain't lying. At first, I thought it was crazy seeing him over there shaking it up with the shaker.
Yeah.
And, he's out, before, he had a tank top on,
Shaking.
a wife beater on, and he was sweating. We made him put on the bubble up sweatshirt.
Yeah.
So we stopped
Pitting
looking
out.
at him,
I was
okay?
pitting out.
So, I didn't want to see that, man.
Hey,
But thank you.
let me tell you something. Everybody thinks it's all fun and games back there behind the bar, but man, it's a lot of work. You got to always be cleaning, as I told my brother-in-law years ago, dude, you always got to be cleaning the bar. You got to be moving and cleaning. And there's a lot of work to make that plate look how good that looks back there.
Show it back there. Can you see it?
We did get a video of John creating his masterpieces.
Look at that.
I'm going to put it in the bubble up folder if anybody wants to check it out, and we'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah, and next week he's going to come.
Will the recipe of this drink be in the bubble up?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you little kids who are listening, just drink the pineapple juice. Don't do anything else but have pineapple juice. But you adults, for an adult beverage, make sure you get that recipe because it's going to be a great drink in the summertime.
It goes down smooth.
It does.
It's like really drinking a fruity drink, and then it just hits you slow. Like it's like fog.
Killing me softly.
It just comes up and it just grabs you by the throat.
Hey, Southside, I think we're taking Stacey home tonight.
I already got an Uber on speed dial there, buddy.
I'm drinking water. Anyone who's
Southside's drinking water.
I can drive everyone home.
Okay.
Stacey's talking about the Roberta Flack, killing me softly. Well, we should talk about some sports maybe along the way.
Yes.
We got an all-star cast here, a couple of shout-outs out of the way, but it was all-star weekend or all-star one day in Atlanta as Commissioner Adam Silver made sure that everybody got in and out of Atlanta safely. The game itself, though, the one in Chicago last year, Stacey, was so much fun. They had the Elam ending, and they were battling it out, and they're playing defense at the end. This was back to some of the games we'd seen in recent years where there was absolutely no defense. Just go ahead and dunk, and Giannis went 16 for 16 and walked away with the MVP.
Just not fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I was more excited that Zach made his first
Right.
appearance in the All-Star game. I was happy for that. But just the game itself, I mean, I tweeted out earlier, can anybody play some defense just for a quarter? Just give me a quarter. I would be happy. Just one quarter.
Like Norman Van Leer there. Just give me a quarter.
Just one quarter.
12 minutes, that's all I ask.
Literally every single time someone got the ball, it was almost like the parting of the Red Sea. Somebody had the ball at the three-point line, they just opened up and they went to the basket. Here's my thought process on this. And, Jordan and those guys and Larry Bird and those guys never did that. They always competed, okay? And when you're the best, the All-Star game represents the best of the best, okay? And so where's the competitive nature? If, when we were growing up and kids and we were playing AAU basketball, and I was going up against the top player in California or the top player in Chicago, I wanted to play that guy because I wanted to see where I stacked up against this guy who was meant to be in the higher rank than I was. So when you go after him, you're not showing him any respect. You're going out. I want you to know I'm just as good as you. I want you to know that, we're not on the same level. You may have a little bit more press clippings than me, but when you leave this venue tonight, you're going to know this kid from Oklahoma will just bust your ass, okay? Just telling you, okay? And that's what I like to get back to because, LeBron James is arguably the best player in the league right now. But there are a lot of people ready to challenge him for that mantle. I would love to see, these guys go at each other. I would like to see them. They're the best of the best. Play defense, shut somebody down. Somebody go out and try to shut James Harden down or Kyrie Irving. Let's see the defense. Let's see people take it, a little pride in their games.
And with the new format, they play each quarter is a winner, and whoever gets the quarter gets money donated to their charity. But the problem is that Team Durant got shut out. The nice thing was the league stepped in and they kicked in $500,000 to their charity. But when you looked at it, Kevin Durant was out because of an injury. He wasn't going to play. And even when they televised the All-Star draft, you could tell Kevin Durant didn't really care about how he's putting the team together. He took Kyrie Irving with his first pick for starters. He took James Harden, both teammates.
You got to play with those guys.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Play with those guys.
But when you look at the team that LeBron put together, you knew before they even threw the ball up in the air, it was going to be a whooping.
Well, and just with the drafting process, if Kevin Durant wasn't going to play, then somebody else should have been elevated into that role. And maybe those teams would be totally different, okay? Whoever was the second highest vote getter in the Eastern Conference maybe should have been in that role. Kevin Durant wasn't going to play. He's still labeled an all-star, but let that other guy pick the team because maybe it's a whole different ball game then. But my thought process on the whole thing is, okay, let's say LeBron gets the number one pick. Okay, so he picked, I don't know who's number one pick. I didn't even watch it. It was Giannis. Okay, he takes Giannis. You automatically on the Eastern Conference has to match up with Giannis. You got to pick someone that can match up as close as you can to Giannis. And then when he comes back to his second pick, let's say he picks Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Now you got to match up with Damian Lillard, another guard to go against him. And then that way you kind of balance out the teams and you kind of equal balance it out and have some equal, game. And then now you can play real defense. Now you can actually see who's the best at their position.
But see, LeBron has an understanding. Any team he plays on has to have the most overloaded roster that exists.
Wow, man.
I mean, he's gone from team to team.
Wow.
Hey,
He's the best.
in the house.
He's the
Hater in the
all-time
house.
GM.
Yeah, didn't he send out some love to Seth Curry? Like, it's great having, as your teammate and stuff. Wasn't that after the game?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out, though.
Listen,
I don't think he's going to get Steph to come
LeBron
to LA.
James could be the greatest GM over the last 10 years.
He
Okay?
is.
All right. So, I mean, he has a way. There's always this underlining thing with him. He knows what he's doing, man. He's a very smart guy. He's getting all these guys on the team. You got Giannis on the team. Hey, Giannis, come on out there with me and Anthony Davis.
You can shoot threes all day.
You can miss all day. We don't care. We'll get the rebound. Come on out, man. I'll make the game easier for you.
Superstar tryout.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what they did back in the Olympics when all those young kids, Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and LeBron James, when they're on that Larry Brown, Olympic team, those guys all got together and they talked like, hey, man, it'd be really nice to play on the same team. So that stuff was going on way, way back then. How do you think they got Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
LeBron picked him on the team, on the All-Star team, and started talking, and then he got the same agent.
Yeah. Huh?
Remember about 15, 20 years ago, they decided to suspend the dunk contest for a couple of years. They said, you know what, this isn't that much fun anymore. We're not gonna have it. And then they had the 3-point contest last, put that in the feature position. Well, the dunk contest had a revitalization with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon putting on a couple of great shows. But then, they kind of rushed to get this thing together, and they brought in 3 guys with low profiles to be in the dunk contest, and they jammed it in at halftime instead of having a musical performance. It just kind of fell flat, Stacey. Now people are wondering, should we keep doing the dunk contest?
Yes, you should keep doing the dunk contest. You just got to get better judges. Guys that understand how difficult it is to get out there on that floor to do those dunks. See, what happens a lot of times, guys, is that you get spoiled. You see a guy do a spectacular dunk, and you think everybody can do it. Well, if that was the case, everybody could do it. You can't do some of these dunks. The dunk the kid Cassius Stanley had.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first dunk.
To give him a 44 was a joke. Okay. Worst case scenario, 48. But best case scenario, I thought it was a 50. I called 50 right from the start. And I thought when they gave him that 44, it changed the whole complexion
of how. It set the tone of the telecast.
It just showed, it really kind of messed his thinking up.
Yeah, people were thinking this is going to be a disappointment.
His confidence was gone after that.
Yeah, and I like to add, I watched it with Southside, and then I watched the Twitter feed. And I have to say that the telecast, the guys, they were over the top. But when you watch those dunks and the beautiful replays in the slow-mo, that's some artistry. And I was very impressed with all 3 guys.
Spoken like a producer director.
Yes.
But I mean,
yes.
but that's what the
it
dunk
was good. I mean,
the camera angles, you didn't have those camera angles 15, 20 years ago.
No, you didn't.
And I just thought the guys overhyped it, and they were talking over each other, and like they set the tone when Cassius didn't get the 50, and it was like, okay, why am I watching? All right, I guess.
Well, and then what I believe is that this is the reason why guys don't do the dunk contest anymore. When you don't have the best guys doing it, they're skipping it because of stuff like this. Guys giving wrong scores. They think their dunk is better, and then all of a sudden they get like a 7.
It's like ice skating.
Yeah,
they're holding the big scores.
Oh my
ice
goodness.
skating.
Yeah.
The Eastern European block.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think what they should do,
Got
though,
a higher rating. Ice skating.
Here's what I'd like to see. Okay, this would spice the dunk contest up. Okay, you get NBA players, whoever your best NBA players. Just say you get 2-3 NBA players. Then you go out there and get some of these guys that are professional dunkers. That do all these shows and tricks and stuff.
Oh yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, have them come in and go up against an NBA player.
Yeah, like a pro-am.
Yeah, pro-am. And then think about the excitement. Think about how crazy that would be if one of those guys beat an NBA player.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun to watch.
I'd
those
watch
guys
that.
can really
I think
get up.
people would watch that.
Wait. Are you saying competition?
Yeah, I'm saying definitely competition.
Whoa, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
same. Now the 3-point contest will always be exciting because that you have to be able to shoot. That's a skill level, so that's always going to be exciting. The skills contest, just goes to show you how skilled big guys are. I mean, for two big guys, Sabonis and Jokic in the finals. I mean, come on. I mean, if that would have been a bet, if somebody said, "All right, bet me with these two guys make it to the finals," you wouldn't have bet on those guys.
No.
You would have never bet on those guys. But for them to be in the finals, I was like, "Wow!"
And Luka couldn't throw a pass into a circle.
Wow. But see, Luka needs to be no looking. He was too busy focusing on the hole. He should just turn his head and knocked it in there. Yeah, he's. But I was really, I know Jokic and Sabonis are really skilled. That's the second year in a row that Sabonis has made it to the finals. Mm-hmm. So that tells you, man, I mean, these big guys are more skilled than we give them credit for.
No question about that. And we talk about the dunk contest. A past dunk contest champion, Blake Griffin, was in the news over All-Star Weekend. He was bought out of his contract with the Detroit Pistons, and he quickly jumped on the bandwagon of the Brooklyn Nets. They have the superstar trio of Durant, Harden, and Irving, and now they add Blake Griffin. But we talked about it on a past podcast. Used to be a slam dunk champion jumping over a Hyundai. He struggles to jump over a reporter's notebook now. He hasn't dunked since December of 2019.
That hurts. He's a fellow Sooner. Okay, I'm not.
Oh, that's right.
Listen, you don't talk about a fellow Sooner like that.
Sooners.
Yeah,
we got the Sooner logo. You can't
exactly.
See it
You are not going to talk about my man Blake Griffin like that. Listen, he may have lost some of his athleticism, but Blake Griffin has a high basketball IQ. He can shoot the three, pick and pop, and he gives them a guy later on as they get in the playoffs. I mean, who in the East is going to match up with them now?
What? Yeah, they're going to be tough to match up.
Who's going to be matching up with them? Okay, so they're looking long term. They see a vision of them playing the Lakers. That's what they're looking at, because they feel the Lakers are going to come out of the West. I don't see anybody beating them in the East. Even before they got Blake Griffin, I didn't see anybody beating them. I'm being honest. So now you get Blake Griffin, and so you kind of solidify your bench a little bit by bringing an all-star off. The guy's going to play 25 minutes a night. You save him. He doesn't have to worry about it. And he has something to prove too. I think he'll be motivated to play like he's used to playing. So they're loading up for the Lakers, man. And, I think the Lakers now have to answer. You hear Drummond. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you talked about the fact that the Bulls may show some interest in Andre Drummond in a trade before March 25th, which is the trade deadline. But if he gets past that point and he's bought out of his contract, I mean, he hasn't played since February 12th with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Lakers would be lying in wait trying to sign that guy.
He would be. I mean, honestly, I could see why the Bulls would even entertain that. After running into Embiid in the Eastern Conference, and you may face them in a 1-8 matchup,
right?
If you make the 8th spot. I could see why they think that. But on the same thing is, I mean, what would you give up? I mean, it's an expiring contract. Do you give up Otto Porter, who's an expiring contract? Trade the contracts with each other. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that position. But I will say this is that people ask me all the time, is it really worth the Bulls making the playoffs this year? And I say, hell yeah. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, because you got so many players on that team who have never experienced a playoff. You've got Zach LaVine, you've got Kobe White, you've got Patrick Williams, you've got Wendell Carter Jr., Lowry Markkanen. You got so many young players that any experience is good experience. You want them to understand when they get into the playoff, whether they're the 8th seed or whether they're the 6th seed, you want them to get the mentality of this is what we are playing for. This is what the goal is, to make the playoffs every year and try to win a championship. These guys of the last few years have just been playing. They've just been hoping. They're not going anywhere. Their season's over in April.
Yeah.
So that's all they didn't get to go to the bubble.
Yeah.
Had they got to go to the bubble, I think they would have got an experience of a lifetime there. They didn't get invited. Now you should have a chip on your shoulder if you're them coming into the season, which I think they have.
Well, I think, but don't you, they might have to give somebody up then. And that's, if you want these guys to experience the playoffs.
What, to get Drummond?
Well, I mean, Drummond or somebody, they might have to give up an asset if they want to get something in return.
You have to give up a pick to get him from Cleveland.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't. Let me just say this. In AK we trust. That's my motto. Okay, because he's already shown me that they know what they're doing there. Okay, they've hit a home run with Garrett Temple. They hit a home run with Patrick Williams. Okay, and now what they're doing is, and you got Billy Donovan. Okay, this team is a totally different team than the last 2 years. Okay, they compete. They have a different mindset when they come to the games. Yeah, have they lost games they should have won? Yeah, they should easily be 3 games over 500. Honestly, they should be.
Yeah.
Okay. But with that said,
they're winning games more.
It's a different mindset. Games where, when they would be down 20-25, it's a reverse this year. They're up 20-25 and they're giving up the games. You know what I'm saying? Last year they were down 20-25 points and then they'd have to hustle and try to get back into games and they'd run out of gas. This year they've had leads where they've been up 20-25 points and they've lost games. So they have to learn how to win with success.
Yeah, and I think the Pelicans game was impressive because they had lost a couple and they came out and set the tone right away. But I just want to go back. I think it was episode 6 or 7. Or one of those earlier episodes that I was talking about.
You couldn't hear us?
Well,
We're in a phone booth?
Well, maybe you couldn't hear me talking about how great Andre Drummond was, and watching him one night and thinking this guy works, he gets rebounds, and what did you say, Chanel?
Empty stats.
Yeah, and now you're.
I stand by that.
Okay,
I stand by that.
Listen,
I don't want them to get Andre Drummond.
Okay,
he's not going to do
listen,
any good,
man. You know what? He's the only one who remembers that. I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Anytime
he's got notes. He wrote it
down.
When I got to dish dirty on somebody, I'm going here,
yeah. No one even knew he was going there. It's not even in the notes. He just had that put in there as we were going on. Okay, we know you picked Drummond, okay?
Yeah, I think if Drummond gets on, and I hope he does.
I think you mentioned that in the context of the Cavaliers getting off to a 3-0 start. What's their record now?
No.
We're going to have to go back and check the
records. We got to check the files.
We were talking because they had JaVale McGee and Thon Maker and Andre Drummond. They had like 4 centers, and they were going the reverse.
Well, the Bulls have 4 centers.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Me personally, I mean, if you don't have to give up a lot for him,
it makes sense.
Porter,
okay,
sure. But if he's going to get bought out, you have an opportunity to go after him. Then I don't want to give up anybody that is going to be in our future. Okay, because what we have going right now is I know a lot of times people get frustrated, with Wendell Carter Jr. or Lowry marketing, but at the end of the day, man, they're talented kids. They're playing for a coach this year that is getting the best out of them. Lowry, before he went down with injury, the games he's played, he's killed. Yeah. He's killed. He gives the Bulls a second reliable scorer every night with Zach LaVine. He's just been hurt.
That statement sponsored by our friends in Finland. Number 1 basketball podcast.
Wow.
No, but I mean, it really will help to get Lowry back because they've had lineups at times where they've got Thad Young playing small ball center. You got Garrett Temple and Patrick Williams in there. Or sometimes they even go smaller with Garrett Temple and Denzel Valentine. Getting Lowry back gives them another 3-point shooter. It'll open up some driving lanes for Zach, and it'll give them at least another guy who can get some defensive rebounds because at times they struggle to control the defensive glass.
And too, Mark, you've watched them too, where they've gone quarters where they have a hard time scoring.
Right.
If Zach's off the floor, sometimes they go through stretches where they don't score, and you need someone that can score. If Thaddeus Young comes off, gives them a spark, but you can't rely so much on certain guys every single night, because the whole game, the complex of the game changes depending on matchups. So Lowry gives you a legit number 2 guy. And if he's healthy, he presents a problem. Somebody asked me this the other day, if you had a chance to take, Porzingis or Lowry marketing. And I
think that was Stinger.
I don't know who it was, but I was like, was it you, Stinger, that asked me that question?
What was the question again? It's not in the format.
If you would trade marketing for Porzingis.
Yeah, well, I'm just...
Porzingis can't move anymore.
Not.
He's 7'3" of statue.
Oh, man.
He can't find
No, it's too late, man. It's too late. I already gave you the live version.
Moment's gone.
The live one was better.
Hey,
the moment's gone.
No, look, at the end of the day, I hope the Bulls make the playoffs too. I think it would be good for the NBA. It's good for the league. But at the end of my only concern is there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions on this team, on this roster, and I know that you got to trust the process, but I just don't know when they're going to make the answers. And one of the answers is, will they make the playoffs? And then what do they do with marketing? And then where do they go with Zach LaVine? But there's
how about we get to the playoffs first?
Okay.
And then worry about all that later. Because at the end of the day, Lowry is a restricted free agent. So no matter where he goes, the Bulls can match just like they did Zach. So they're not in a hurry to they'll let Lowry set the market. And they're not going to let him walk. Trust me on that.
And I just hope that the offense does run through him a little bit, because when I remember covering him, in that rookie year and how dynamic he was and what he could do on the 3-point line and then post players up, the mismatch. He's a game changer, and I just hope that they can get the ball to him a little bit more.
They are. They are. I mean, there was a game where he had a couple stretches where he had 30 points, in like 2 or 3 games in a row. Okay. Lowry is the only person that can stop Lowry is Lowry himself.
Exactly.
Okay. Lowry is super talented. Lowry has all-star capabilities.
Yes, he does.
Does it mean he's going to be an all-star? No. But he has the tools to be an all-star caliber player. Let me tell you something. You can't find anybody at the college level right now, 7-footers, that does what Lowry does right now. They're all in the NBA. Those guys are in the NBA right now. So if you're trying to say, well, let's get draft picks, let's 2-3 years down the road, you're not going to find guys like him.
Right.
When you talk unicorn, that's a unicorn, a 7-footer that can step out and hit threes consistently, can put the ball on the floor, rebound, post up. He's having his best year since Fred under Billy Donovan.
Yeah, and hopefully the Bulls can get Lauri Markkanen back in the lineup very shortly after this All-Star break. Stacey was mentioning it. Sometimes the Bulls struggle to score a little bit. One guy who could always light it up quickly, the great Jamal Crawford, 3-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year. He is this week's special guest on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We will visit with Jamal Crawford, ask him about his Seattle buddy Zach LaVine, and a whole lot more as John mixes up another batch of drinks and Gimme the Hot Sauce rolls on. We are so excited to welcome in our special guest on episode 19 of Stacey King's Gimme the Hot Sauce. It is the great Jamal Crawford. You can follow him on Twitter at JCrossover. We know all the accomplishments he's had in his NBA career, a 3-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year, all-time leader in NBA 4-point plays. He scored 50 points with 4 different organizations, which is just incredible to think about, and he's still going strong at age 40. Jamal, welcome to the show. I noticed that you got a birthday coming up in about 10 days, but I guess your thoughts are still that I'm in great shape. I can play the rest of the season if some team wants to bring me on board.
Absolutely. I forgot I had a birthday, so you just told me. I just lost in space out there. But no, I feel really good. Obviously, playing in the NBA half my life, kind of figured out, what works for me and what I could do to kind of prolong that. And I feel really good. Hopefully a call comes, and, if so, I'll be ready.
Talk about a little bit. The Bulls fans remember you coming from the University of Michigan and having some real exciting times here. You were a really exciting guard when you were here. You were just learning how to play the NBA game. Give a little bit of insight of what your experience was playing in Chicago those first 4 years.
I love Chicago. Chicago is an unbelievable city. I felt like I went from like a boy to a young man there. You know what I mean? And just figuring it all out. Like you said, I had so much to learn. And when you're in it, you're like, no, I'm ready. I got this. But then when you see, the pros like Bryce Drew or Fred Hoiberg and learning that, being on time is being early and just, how to dress, how to carry yourself. I'm 19, 20 years old coming into a team that just, won championships, plural, just a couple years before, so I didn't truly understand what I was walking into. I was kind of learning on the job, and I really learned how to be a pro and be a vet when I got other vets around me. And I saw what it was really about, and I started figuring out the NBA game, and I really, really enjoyed my time in Chicago. I really, put myself in the community. I was at the IIT playing games. I was all around the city playing games, doing stuff with local boys and girls clubs and things of that nature. So I really loved it there.
Hey, Jamal, I wanted to ask you about your last year with the Bulls. They brought in a couple of veterans. Kendall Gill and Scottie Pippen played that year. I worked with KG for about 14 years doing the pre- and post-game shows, and he said that he really enjoyed working with you, that you were like a sponge that wanted to learn things. What was it like that particular season? Kind of a transition. They went from Tim Floyd to Bill Cartwright, and they were trying to get the program back on track. How important is it to have veterans like that to help young players along? Because that's kind of what the current Bulls are going through right now.
Yeah, and a lot of the league is going through it, to be honest with you. I just think having vets in any field, obviously we're talking about the NBA, but, if you go to Microsoft and Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates are there, you want to learn from guys like that, or guys who have been there, right? If you want to be the best photographer, you go study and mimic Andy Bernstein and kind of follow him and shadow him. So I think in any field, when you have vets there, they make the transition a lot easier. Obviously experience is the best teacher, but if you can learn so much from somebody who knows the ropes and knows just the lay of the land. You know, and for Kendall, he was one of the ones I saw dressed real nice all the time. He didn't have to say it. I was just observing. And I could see it. I was like, man, this guy's a pro. You know, and he had a driver then. You know, I'm like, well, why does he have a driver? He didn't want to fight traffic, you know, and keep his mind focused on the games and stuff like that. So I'm just learning how to be a pro and be a sponge, and having those vet guys, I think, set the foundation for my career. And in turn, you know, I try to do that over the course of my career for younger players as well.
You know, people talk about in the big cities, New York has, you know, schoolboy legends, and, you know, you got Chicago has it, LA. No one ever talks about Seattle and how many guys are actually produced out of Seattle, out of the Washington area. I mean, there's a whole list of guys. Yourself, you got Doug Christie, you got Nate Robinson, Terrence Williams, Kevin Porter Jr., Deontay Murray, Zach LaVine. I mean, there's a ton of NBA players that have come out, and you never hear anybody talking about Seattle and the talent that comes out of there.
Yeah, we've been slept on for a while. To be honest with you, when I was coming out of high school in 1998, it was just a big thing to go to Division I. Like, if you could say you're going to the University of Arizona like Jason Terry, go to Pepperdine, or go to Michigan. You know, for us, that was like going to the NBA at the time, because, you know, it was Doug Christie, it was James Edwards, it was Clint Richardson. That was really it.
Wow.
You know, from our areas, three guys in the NBA. So that wasn't like the goal. You know, we dreamed about it, but that wasn't the goal. And then you see a Jason Terry go, and you see Doug Christie come back, and then you see the Sonics in this area with the Sean Kemps and the Gary Paytons really throw themselves in the community, George Karl, and start AAU programs, start basketball camps. And now you're around these pros, and they're saying, you know what, you can make it. You're like, wow, you know, you have the glove. This is 96. They just went to the finals. You know what I mean? You have a guy of that stature saying you can make it to the NBA. You have a guy like Doug Christie saying, come train with me. Come work out with me. You can do it. And that gives you like a whole different fuel, you know? And then when you see that, and you start seeing guys like Jason or myself or Brandon Roy or Isaiah Thomas and all these guys, Nate Robinson, start going to the NBA, and we're still here in the community, and the kids can reach out and touch us. They can text us, any of that. They can get in the gym with us. Then they start believing. And then it just creates this whole like basketball community, and we all root for each other. There's an 8th grader right now who can text a Brandon Roy or text Spencer Hawes or text Avery Bradley. And there's a sophomore who could text me or text Zach LaVine. And we never leave the community, and we just keep, it's like each one teach one, just keep giving back. And that's all we ask. This guy gives back to the next generation.
You broke a lot of ankles, including Ray Allen a few times I saw in the highlights. But, you know, you were another 39 years, 20 days, you oldest to score 50. You broke Michael Jordan's record. Not many people can say they broke a Jordan. Do you remember that night? And when did you find out that you broke the record?
Absolutely. Let's go back just a little bit. You know, I was in a situation where I thought we were going to try to go for the playoffs when I first went to Phoenix. Myself, Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, Tyson Chandler, like, hey, we're bringing vets in. We're trying to go for it. Within a month, Trevor Ariza, Tyson Chandler are both gone, and Ryan's not really playing. I'm not really playing. So now we're kind of rebuilding, letting the young guys play. Fast forward to the end of the season, everybody's kind of hurt, and coach is like, hey, just go out there and do your thing. I'm like, just go hoop? He's like, yeah, just go hoop. So I'm like, all right. So that month of April, besides that game you're talking about, I averaged 31 points and 6 assists, and more importantly, won half the games off the bench. And that was my highest scoring month in my career. In any month, 31 a game. And so going into that game, I think I needed 25 at the time. Kobe Bryant was the only person, and I think Kareem was the only person to ever have 3 straight 25-point games. And so this all makes sense in a second. So then I'm like, okay, 25 is the number. I was just trying to win for this dirt tonight. So I have 25 at the end of the third quarter. Then I scored 13 the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. So now I got 38 with 8 minutes to go, and that's the light bulb's like, oh, this is a 50-point night. I come off the bench, right? I come off the bench the last decade. I've had great games. I've had games where I've had 37, 35. I'm like, there's just not enough time to me to be able to get 50 points off the bench. And if you want to make God laugh, you tell me your plans, and it's like, I'll show you. And I just got in a rhythm. I felt like I was just outside. I was in the playground. I was just playing. And my teammates, like when somebody scores that many points, it's never just about you. Like your teammates are getting you open and passing the ball. Coach is drawing you plays. It's like everybody gets into this moment. And so they just started finding me, and I got lost into the game and look up, and it's 51 points later, and then you're the oldest player to ever score, breaking your favorite players ever, his record. record, right? I'm like, that's just insane.
Stacey mentioned
Sorry,
this.
it's so long-winded, but I had to make it.
No, that's great, man.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Stacey mentioned the Seattle connection. Zach LaVine just coming off his first All-Star game appearance. What's your relationship like with Zach, and how proud are you of what he's accomplished, becoming from a guy who came into the league as just known as a good jumper and a dunker to becoming an all-around efficient player?
Yeah, I'm so happy for Zach. I've known him since he was in high school. You know, he was the sophomore that we were inviting to the pro runs and letting him play with us and be in the gym with us and work out with us, doing the same thing Doug Christie and Gary Payton did for us. And so to see him on this journey and see him on this trek and, you know, kind of find his foot. And like you said, he was known as just kind of like the freak show, right? Just the athlete, the jumper. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, oh, okay, he's a good player. He's on bad teams. It's funny, if you go back and look, I think last year, was his last year, his first year at the Bulls or second year?
Second year.
Second year. Okay, yeah. Well, I think his first or second year, I said that. I said, Zach is going to be a star. They just have to, you know, be close to 500 because the talent's there. And for Zach, what I seen, we worked out this summer coming into the season. What I seen this summer was his patience. He didn't like force shots as much. He kind of let the game come to him. He started getting other people involved. He started, you know, kind of being the hub, not just the scorer. He's like, you can play through me as well, and I can make plays for people. And then the points came easier. Like he's passing more, but he's scoring more points than he has. You know what I mean? So it's like a combination of things. And to see him kind of lead that team and have them in playoff contention and make the All-Star game is just an unbelievable feeling. And I was honored to be one of the ones asked to be on the call to surprise him. So that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
great.
Awesome. Seeing all the people come in and give him a special message. He's you know what? He's a great kid. I think Bulls fans now are getting a chance to see him more outside of just being Zach the basketball player. I mean, he's a great teammate. He's a respectful of people, teammates, former players. I enjoy sitting there talking to him because he's always just like he's with you. He wants sponge. He's like a sponge, and he gets it from, you know, former players. And he wanted to know what Jordan was like, and you tell him, and it's like, you know, because he grew up idolizing Michael as you did.
Yeah, the two things that really separate Zach to me is his work ethic and his humility. He's so humble, and it's not an act. It's not anything. But so you root for guys like that, right? And you can tell he was raised right. I know his parents really well. And they're the same way, and he's unbelievable. And what you see is what you get, and the Bulls got a good one, and very, very, very lucky, for sure.
Hey, Jamal, you got to answer this question for me. Something that's bothered me for, 8-9 years. Back when the Bulls got to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2011, they were a shooting guard away from maybe winning it all, and they had a little bit of money to spend in free agency. And the top guys on the market that year, that offseason, were yourself, Jason Richardson, and Rip Hamilton. And I was thinking to myself, if the Bulls signed Jamal Crawford, they're winning it all. And they ended up going with Rip Hamilton. Did they ever talk to you or your agent about coming back to Chicago? Did it ever get serious?
Hey, I think we did have conversation. I'm going to tell you a funny story. You guys are bringing stuff out I've never said, actually. So they did talk to my agents, but I remember Derek and I talked about it a little bit at the time. Yeah, and it was we had talked about it because, you know, Derek was – I've always been the biggest, like, hugest Derrick Rose fan. Like, I love him, his humility as well. Like, he's just a stand-up guy, and I root for him, and he's one of my favorite players of this era for sure. But I remember us talking about it some, and it just never came to fruition. I think they got Rip instead, and I think I ended up going to the Clippers after that, I believe. So, yeah, it was a tough deal, but, yeah, I mean, I've always been very fond of Chicago. Every time I came back to play there, going to old restaurants I went to, and just the people and the interaction, it makes you think like, wow, I was really here. I left, 17 years ago, but people still in the city was like, I loved you when you were a Bull, and just that interaction. Bulls fans are unbelievable.
Stacey, that could have changed history. They could have won a championship with Jamal playing the two guard.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I look back on that, man. That was the one thing that they really miss is someone else that could create their own shot.
And then Derek got hurt that year.
Yes,
and,
yes, it was just he just brought back old memories, man. He hit a man in the gut. Yeah. Now, Jamal, Tell our listeners what the transition was for you, who you were a starter in this league for a long time, exciting starter. And we all know what kind of teammate you are. There's no one can say anything bad about you as a teammate. Everyone speaks so highly of you. You won the Teammate of the Year award, and people really love playing with you. So what was the transition for you like going from being a starter to being one of the top 6 men of all time?
Well, Stacey, you know how it is in the league, and you guys know, covering the league, especially at that time, I didn't want to be known as a good player on bad teams. Yeah, you can get 20 points a game, his teams don't win. Because, after a while, they put you in a box.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't want to go to that box. And, I won when I was a kid. I won in high school a championship when I was in college playing, and we won a lot. I didn't finish the season, but I've always was a winner. It was never just about the numbers for me. So I got to a point in my career, and I just came off averaging almost 20 points for 2 or 3 consecutive years, 19, 18, 20, whatever. And I got traded. And I remember Rick's son came to my house, and he was like, you know what? We feel like with you being that third guard, like the first guard off the bench, you can take our team to another level. And I said, you know what? I'll come off the bench. I'll, do whatever you need me to do. I just want to win. You guys just want us to the playoffs. I'm not trying to rock the boat. Just tell me what you want me to do. And so my heart was saying that. But I remember, so prepping for that in the summers, we'd play pickup games. And I would always make sure I didn't go on to the second or third game because I wanted to mentally start preparing myself that I was going to come off the bench. And I remember the first game I came off the bench and played the Pacers, and I took 2 shots. And Joe Johnson and Coach Woodson was like, no. You're looking at this wrong. Just because you're coming off the bench doesn't mean you're just not as important piece as you would be if you're a starter. So we need you to lead the league and come off the bench. I'm like, oh, well, that's all they had to say. And then I averaged 18 the rest of the way. I went 6 man of the year. We won 53 games. We ended up losing to Orlando that first round. But it changed the course of my career. Like, I never dreamed of being a 6 man. I never came off the bench in my life. I was always starting. So for me, I was confident enough in my skills, and I knew my heart was purely about the team. But I was confident enough I could make the transition and not miss a beat. And it was a little harder than I thought at first. But then once I figured it out, I'm like, no, look at the great teams. They always have a super sub, whether it's McHale in Boston, whether it's Ginobili, with the Spurs, whether it's Jason Terry at the time in Dallas. I'm like, that punch is there for you. So I just went for it and fully embraced it. And now what's really cool is to see kids at camps and, across the country, my son plays on that tournaments all the time, and say, I didn't want to be a 6 man until, you're one of the guys I saw and changed my perspective about being a 6 man. It kind of became a cool thing. And now Lou Williams is taking the torch. And now Jordan Clarkson may take the torch. And it's an unbelievable thing, unbelievable feeling.
That's awesome.
You took it to the next level. You're the second player in NBA history off the bench with 10,000 points. That's pretty incredible. Del Curry had 11,000. But is there a player you remember that you would not want to see guard you? I mean, could anybody stop you? I mean, was there guys in the league? Tony Allen?
Oh.
Chicago kid, yeah.
Yeah, Chicago kid, of course. You know how you guys see players take pride in scoring a basket and the celebrations and everything. I feel like he was celebrating when he got a stop. Like, him getting a stop was like scoring a basket. So that was right? Like, to stop anybody that was coming in, he took such great pride. And the thing about it is most defenders, they're long, they're athletic, but most defenders have really good hands or they have really good feet. He had both. And he was like, he was hell-bent on stopping you. And I saw an interview he did on I think the Vernon show, maybe 8-9 months ago, and he said the hardest crossover he had he ever had to guard was mine. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way, because I couldn't sleep at night knowing I was about to play against him. The mutual respect that was there, and we didn't know this because we never talked about it. So the mutual respect that was there is what sports is about, in competition.
Well, we hope you get back in the league for the stretch run, but if you do not play any more basketball, what's in the future for Jamal Crawford?
I know I'll be around the game. I'll know that whether it's talking about the game, whether it's in a front office position trying to build teams. I try to do that now. LA Fitness, like this guy should match up with him. And
you get some work in early, huh?
I've been a GM for a long time and didn't know it. So I just know I'll be around the game. I have 2 boys that play basketball all the time. So I'm a lifer. I really am. And so for me, I'll be around the game in some capacity.
Before we let you go, what do you think about your Michigan Wolverines and the job that Juwan Howard has done there? You think they got a chance to win it all?
Oh, they have a serious chance. And it's weird. Once you start in anything with momentum, right? And once you start building that momentum, you start finding ways to win. Maybe games you should lose. You start finding ways to win that. And it cements the belief that you have and the belief that he has in them and they have in him. So, you know, it is the tournament teams get hot at the right time, but they've been steady and he's done an unbelievable job. And to see him, I don't know if you can see, you can't on the camera, but I have a Fab Five actually right there. They were the reason I went to Michigan. So to see him have that kind of success back there, it means a lot.
You played with Jalen Rose for a little bit when he was here, right?
I played with him 2 different times. I played with Chicago and I played with him in New York as well. Yeah, Jalen was one of my favorites. He was probably the main reason I went to Michigan. They promised me his locker, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. My 10-year-old son, his name is actually Jay, and he was trying to think of something close. So,
okay.
Yeah, we call him JJ, but yeah.
Well, Jamal, my son is a proud graduate of Michigan, so we'll be rooting for the Wolverines in the tournament unless they run into Stacey's Sooners, right?
That's right. They run into Sooners.
I'll have to do that on the down low. I can't root against Stacey out front, you know?
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, those Sooners going to get you. They're going to get somebody this year. Don't sleep.
Stacey, I got one question for you.
What's that?
Best player ever to you.
Best player ever?
To you.
Oh, man. You're going to put me on the spot on my own show.
Hey, I had to flip it. I had to bring something a different twist to it. You can give me top 5.
I'll give you top 5. Of course, MJ. You put him anywhere, but he's in 1. I got LeBron in there. I'm going with Magic, Larry Bird in there. And my 5th guy, man.
Gotta get a big man
baby.
in there. Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, baby. Couldn't nobody stop him.
The Big Dipper.
I mean, there is so many guys, Jamal, that you could put in there, man.
Kareem.
I mean, Kareem. It's really not even fair. Bill Russell's, the all-time greatest winning. I mean, but, it's almost one of those things where it's generational. What generation you come, because there'll be some guys in this generation that will elevate those guys into those spots. Like if we did a top 50 player of all time, half those guys would be off that top 50 now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, it's this league has changed. This is with analytics and everything that's involved in the game now. I mean, the game has completely changed. I watched the All-Star game yesterday, and I was, Sunday. I was watching the All-Star game, and I was just like, wow, man, is anybody going to play some defense? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I miss the All-Star games, like where the best of the best compete at the highest level.
Yes.
Every basket meant something. The competition. I miss those all.
And they wanted to see who was the best. If you think you're the best, I'm going to show you that I'm the best, and we're going to go head up. They don't do that anymore. It's all more, and I understand they want the crowd into it and all that stuff, but I think the crowd would even be more into it, Jamal, if you did that like they did the old way.
It's just like regular season playoffs, right? Like the level of the crowd intensity, the level of the competitiveness on the court just continue rises. I think that would be the best way. Mark and Stinger, you guys aren't getting off the hook that fast. I need your top 5.
Well,
the Stinger.
No, every guy that Bird, LeBron, Magic. You got to talk about Oscar. Kareem. I remember watching Kareem, and he was unstoppable. And so I would put Kareem in. And I didn't see Wilt play or Oscar, but Kareem. So there's my 5.
Hey, Jamal, Stinger's a Boston guy. He thinks Tom Brady walks on water.
Yeah.
So,
he does, doesn't he?
Tom Brady, Stinger?
Yeah. How about that? You went to school with him.
Yeah.
We were there at the same time?
Yeah, and you saw what he had to do at Michigan as a backup, and he was 12-5 at Michigan. And Lloyd Carr.
Come on now. Come on now.
Who cares?
The
buttons.
We had to play the Michigan Fight song on the way out of this interview.
Do we even have that on the soundboard? Oh my goodness. Tom Brady is the GOAT, though. He is the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Hey, Jamal, it's been so much fun catching up with you.
Wait a minute. No. He wants to know who you got your top 5.
Nobody cares what I
what you got?
I got a couple of big guys in there. I would go with Kareem. I would go with Wilt. And I would go with Michael, Magic, and LeBron. That would be my top 5.
All right.
Who you got?
Okay. Michael, Kobe.
There you go.
Ooh.
LeBron, Magic, Kareem.
Ooh, Magic, Kareem, Kobe. Yeah,
a lot of Lakers on that top 5.
Kobe, I'm not gonna lie, man. Kobe might be on that Mount Rushmore for real though.
He's trying to get on the Lakers for the stretch run, pick up a ring.
Yeah. He was like nothing else. He was for sure.
I like that. He's my new favorite guest.
Well, that's Southside Susan. She's on the mic. I don't know who gave her a mic, but she just got on. She got something to say.
Hold on. If she got on, so we need her top 5 Bulls.
There you go.
Top 5 Bulls.
Top 5 Bulls.
Oh, goodness. I'm going to go.
Not top 5.
Stacey.
Oh, well, Stacey's number 1 for
Thank
sure.
You. Thank you.
And
Checks
MJ,
in the mail. Checks in the mail.
And I'm going to be partial to Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen and
Jamal Crawford.
And Jamal Crawford.
Woo!
Boom.
Jamal, you're my new favorite top 5. Absolutely. You're not my 6th man.
Hey, top 5 guest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jamal, it's been so much fun catching up with you. As we mentioned at the top, 3-time NBA 6th Man of the Year, still going
Future
strong
Hall
at the
of
age
Famer.
of 40.
Ooh. Future Hall of Famer.
There you go.
I called it. He will be a future
Why
Hall
not?
of Famer.
Why not?
One of the most dynamic 6 man of all time.
Stacey, if I just get in the hallway and get nominated, I'll screw out the back door. That's enough for me.
Yeah, trust me. You will be in the Hall of Fame. You will be. Trust me. So some of the things that you were able to do, some of the numbers that you put up, definitely warrant Hall of Fame consideration, and you will be deserving of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And
you guys got a part 2 for me for all that. Whenever you want me, I'll be back.
Oh, we appreciate that, bro.
So much fun talking to Jamal. And once he's done playing, if he doesn't want to be a coach or go in the front office, to be a broadcaster. He's a natural.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you joining us. We didn't get one of John's special drinks. We can't send it all the way to Seattle. But next time you're in Chicago, we'll take you out to lunch and we'll figure something out, okay?
Hey, Stacey.
Yo.
Too big, too strong, too fast, one time.
Yeah.
Too big, too strong, too fast, and too good.
That describes.
Sriracha. Give me the hot sauce. Hey, I wish you played with us, because as much as you shoot that 3, I'd been yelling, give me the hot sauce every time you shot it. Give me the hot sauce, Jamal. Give me the hot sauce. Sriracha.
Yeah, the biggest mistake of the front office, they didn't bring Jamal back in 2011. Amen. Thinking about what might have been. Jamal, thank you so much for joining us here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Coming up next, we go off the wall. We got all kinds of crazy stuff to talk about.
This dude over here playing with the mic. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Jay. Appreciate it, big dog.
We are back on episode 19 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. And Stacey, one of the things that's been interesting about our friends, John and Susan Walsh, they've become world travelers. At least Susie has. She was in Alaska for a week posting pictures. I hope you saw that on the Bubble Up roll. We always post that every week, some behind-the-scenes look at how we prepare for our Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. And this weekend, they decided to jet off to lovely Tampa, Florida for a couple of days. You guys are only there for about 48 hours. I mean, talk about a quick trip.
That's all you need.
Florida's not what it's cracked up to be, or what?
Wow.
Hey, with my fair skin, you need a couple hours of the pool, maybe a drink and a couple of cigars, maybe, right? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
not.
you were taunting us on our group text with some of the drinks you were enjoying down in Tampa.
Yes, well, we've talked about these drinks for the most of the show.
Later in the show, so it might be more interesting now.
But I have to say, I'm more of a beer guy and red wine, but I did get turned on to a couple of fancy drinks, the Royal Hawaiian, which, trust me, with the Impress gin, it will sneak up on you, the gin. Doesn't taste it right away. And then, of course, the proper 12.
I think you have to mix it, John.
Well, it looked too pretty. It looked too pretty to mix. But the proper 12 pineapple, I think the whole crew here has had one, and it's delicious. It's got everything in it that you need.
Stacey, the liquor's sneaking up on you when the Stinger called Jamal Crawford Zach in the interview. That's when you knew we had a problem.
That's when you knew it was a problem.
Because he said Zach,
they're both from Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's okay, man.
I'm a stats guy. I had good stats though.
Stats, you definitely.
Maybe there needed to be a cutoff.
Hey, you know what, Mark? Stop being a hater, because I just got a text from Jamal, my new friend, and he said, "Listen, I had a blast."
A new friend.
He called me Stinger.
He called you Pete.
He called you Pete.
Yeah, well, he
He thought you were Kevin Mooney.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mark, he had a blast on our show. So
Whoever you are.
Whoever you say you are there, buddy.
To whom this may concern, I had a blast.
Well, Tampa was fun.
Thank you for
I'm
continuing.
going to pretend
mix up
I'm
some more
Marcinowski.
of those drinks.
Yeah, I think I'll take over since I'm drinking water. But
Yeah.
I thought I would go down there with a GoPro and do a repeat of Alaska, but I kind of blew that. Saturday we were going to get a jet ski, and I thought it would be fun to put in the roll, but it was raining. And I think we did video. We went on those scooters. Tampa's a really cool town.
Yeah.
I'd never been there before, and I was really impressed.
Well, it's cool when you go with your hip,
our
daughter who's on
our
the
cruise director,
who's making reservations at 3 different places,
and then we checked them all out, and
then we're walking by scooters. She's like, "Oh, let's do scooters."
no, that was fun.
We're walkers, so we got on these scooters and we went all around Tampa. We followed the Super Bowl route, Shanowski, of where the trophy ended up. We went on that route there.
Everything leads back to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
No matter what we're talking about.
He was stalking Tom Brady's
It always
roots.
leads back to Tom
The
Brady.
great Tom Brady walked this path.
Yes, he did.
The two of them with my daughter. This is where he threw the trophy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's funny how everything always leads back to Stinger, though, because I guess there was kind of a misadventure where he was trying to break hotel rules by smoking a cigar, and that led to a very rather uncomfortable.
Clearly says no smoking in the hotel.
Yeah.
All public buildings, no
and
smoking.
he knows, well, long story short, he knows that I don't often drink a whole coffee, and I don't care that it's cold, so I'll drink it later. So we woke up on Sunday, and he had taken a cigar and put it in my half coffee cup and put the lid on it. And so I woke up
said,
Sunday.
"Would you like a drink of coffee, dear?"
No, I woke up 2 hours before the other two.
Wait, try to take her out.
No, but I think
Is that an episode of Snapped?
it was like
I never thought
I
of it.
walked in on the crying game. She had her mouth open. She was crying.
I was throwing
and-
up in the sink.
But we did
Oh,
find out
no.
she took 2 gulps.
I did. That is not true.
I'm getting sick thinking about it.
Fake news.
Fake news.
All right. And how'd the rest of the vacation go after that incident?
Well, and
We
so
survived.
I had all intentions to rent the jet ski on Sunday, and then there was a small craft advisory that got in my way. So
Yeah, Southside had a little small craft advisory going.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah, a little bit of a euphemism. I mean, there was, there was some beverages and some wine. Not to mention
So she was getting a drink on then, basically.
A little bit. She was letting it.
Letting her hair down.
She was letting her hair down.
With
our daughter, she likes to have wine, and she's
our
the
daughter
fancy
just graduated
drinks.
from Dayton, so she's
Catherine.
quite
Brits
Catherine.
abroad.
She's quite beyond me.
Okay.
So you can't try to
she's
keep
still,
up with me.
she's on that college level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a fish.
Yeah, she still has that wooden leg. She was calling us out for being lightweights.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
Anyway, that's pretty much it.
People who-
48 hours was enough, Mark.
People who chew tobacco at sporting events or stuff, outdoors at a Cubs game or a Bears game, they tell the stories about spitting into a cup and accidentally having the beer in one hand and doing it. But your husband did it to you. That's what makes it worse.
That's disgusting.
That's gross.
Seriously.
that is.
That's
it's awful.
worse than a cigar.
That might be worse than a cigar.
Much.
So where are you guys going next weekend?
Russia. We're going to Russia.
Just for 48 hours, though.
It's 40 hours.
Yeah.
No, I think I overdid it.
Yeah.
I was so stir crazy. I just wanted to get out and live my life, and I'm looking forward to being bored for a few weeks. Actually,
Well, it's awesome to have you back.
thank you.
One of the things we wanted to get to on Off the Wall last week, we talked about growing up in the 70s or 80s, as the case may be, and Stinger had an idea about things that we used to do when we didn't have video games or multiple television sets and all the rest of that stuff.
The weather was nice.
Had to go outside and actually play games.
Yeah, and climb trees. We
Get
had
some exercise.
Yeah, we had a chestnut tree where you crack open, the shell, and you put a string through it.
Did you live on a plantation?
Well, no.
Careful now, Greg McDermott.
He's like,
Yeah.
you got a chestnut tree?
I had a chestnut tree.
Really?
Yeah, we had that's what I'm saying.
Rhode Island, Stacey.
I-
Right, I never a chestnut
a
tree.
chestnut
You
tree.
live on like a big estate?
No, it was rolling.
That's in their summer home.
No.
Yeah, their
No,
summer
no,
home.
no.
Yeah, Cape
Very-
Cod.
very
we used to take a boat to our
No.
mansion.
Yeah, on the Hyannisport. Yes, on the compound.
Yeah, the compound.
It was
No.
no, blue collar, but it had a chestnut tree and it had a pine tree, which was a great climbing tree and to try to build forts in. And then we also had some bamboo, like a field of bamboo, which was really cool because you could make when the bamboo
in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
weird.
where the hell is bamboo?
Something was going on in the soil, but we had and we would make dirt paths for our bikes and ride. Not the banana bike, but
wow.
So
banana bike.
But I was remembering the smell. There's a what was I saying? The
yellow plant.
I can't even say it now, but there was this. You always remember that distinct spring smell.
Another round of drinks, John.
Yeah, no.
Forsentia. It was a Forsentia, and it had an almond scent to it, and I always remember that scent. And
Stacey, we'll see if he edits this out when he gets home. I think he might have to get that.
Nobody knows how dry I am. Nobody knows how dry I am.
Proper number 12 takes down another victim.
It could be proper 13.
Yeah, proper 15.
Ding.
So yeah, I mean that's all maybe somebody else can jump in.
You're going down with this ship there, Stinger.
Stinger.
We thought this was a different segment. We're talking about stuff we did as kids.
Oh,
You know,
man.
when I was growing up, baseball was king, and we used to try to get everybody together early in the day, and we'd go to a local field, and you'd get one field. You know, you had to hit the ball to left field because there was nobody in the other field.
Yep.
But you'd play from
was
the
an
moment
out.
you woke up, you take a quick break for lunch, you go back and you play again. And I think that's something that kids now don't get a chance to do that kind of thing because they're always involved in either some kind of organized activity or playing video games. And now with spring and summer coming up, hopefully kids get back outside and enjoy the weather and get the exercise that they need. Stacey, we've heard a lot of stories about you growing up. What do you remember outside of getting jumped by 12 people on the
Stacey's
playground?
taking the fifth on this.
Well, you know what? I had a wonderful childhood. I'm not going to sit there and lie. It was a great childhood. Great memories. I probably no. We didn't climb no trees, man. No. Let me tell you what we did though. We used to sneak in, me and my buddies. Be like 6, 7 of us. And we used to go into the apartment complexes because we'd have friends live in the apartment complex. And they had a swimming pool. None of us had swimming pools. Okay, we didn't even have the little baby ones that you could put water in. We couldn't afford those. Okay, so we'd go out to these complexes, and they'd be like we'd have a apartment complex, and then there's a thing called Sandpiper. It used to be a hotel. It's the Best Western.
Yeah.
So there's a pool there. So what we used to do, like 6 or 7 of us, we go jump in this pool, and we go swimming. Okay, so every time we went swimming to these different places, we'd always get thrown out by the super at the apartment. He's like, "Hey, you don't live here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here." And like, okay, wow. Okay. All right. So we come back the next day, do it again. I told you guys to get out of here. You don't live here. Da, 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 da. So like he did this like for a long time, years. The guy always knew that we didn't live there. And there's a couple of times we got invited because you can invite, if you live there, you can invite kids to come in there. And we'd be invited sometimes. He'd still kick us out. Okay. So as we got older, we started looking back on things. We said, how in the hell did he know we didn't live there? Because you got all these complexes and there's so many kids in these complexes. How would he know that we don't live there? Because he'd always catch us. We'd be swimming, get out of that pool, you don't live here. So I'd be like, wow, man, we started thinking. And the reason why, because we were black. we were the only black kids that were in the pool. We didn't have black kids living in an apartment. And it was just like mostly whites, and there was no black kids living in this apartment. So when we would come in there swimming, that's how he knew. Oh. And I never knew that. And I was just like, how does he know? Like, how does he know I don't live in apartment 7C or my friend doesn't live in apartment 8C or whatever? And it was like, we were the only black kids in the complex, and that's how they would know. And we did the same thing over at Sandpiper at the Best Western. We sneak in and in. You go swimming again. Now, definitely they know we don't live there because we can't afford to stay at that hotel. So that would give us a way there. But the apartment complex, it took us years to figure that out, like why he didn't. And we laughed about it, later on. Like, okay, now I know how he knew, But when we were kids, you didn't know. It's like, man, is he psychic? And then I don't know if you guys did this when you were younger. But every one of those apartment complex would have Coke machines on the outside of, the building. Okay. And the apartment complex would always order like a case of Coke. So if they were missing certain things, they'll give me a case of Sprite or whatever. So the Coke guy would come in and we'd be like a bunch of hyenas. We'd be hiding in like hiding behind walls and just watching him because what he did was that when he would take the Cokes, and this is what they used to do in the olden days, is when they had too many Cokes, and they still ordered that many.
They left them up top?
Then they left them behind the machine. Ooh. And they would stick them behind the machines.
Are these bottled or canned?
No, they're cans.
They're canned.
And they'd stick them behind the machine because there'd be a cutout in the back where the machine was and everything. And he'd stick 6 or 7 Cokes back there. And so we'd be over there hiding like, the Serengeti. Like, we're like some hyenas. And as soon as he takes off, we're on the move. Boom. And we're running. And it's hot. It's hot as hell. In Oklahoma, it's like 100 and some degrees. So we're running. And we got to get there quick because anybody says, hey, get out of here. What are you guys doing? So we go in there. We steal the Cokes. We're criminals. I'm not going to lie. I didn't turn out to be a criminal. Well, I was a criminal back in the day. So we get these Cokes or whatever it was, Sprite or whatever. And we were just so happy. Coke's about 100 degrees. It's hot. It's like drinking a hot coffee.
Yeah.
But as kids, you didn't care.
Yeah.
You didn't care. It was just, we got the Coke. It's free.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying? And we did that like every summer. That was like so much fun for us.
So was there anything you did that you didn't break the law?
Yeah. Remember the days remember the days when you'd be outside playing and you didn't want to go all the way home to get water. So you go to your friend's house and drink out the hose. Oh, right. Remember those days?
Oh,
remember
yeah.
those days? They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
No telling because you don't know what's in the water.
Oh, yeah.
But back in the day, like you didn't want to go all the way home and then you go, knock on the door. Hey, Mike, can we get some water out the hose? First, we'd ask Mike, can we come in? And then Mike said, I can't have you guys in. Mom's at work. She won't let you in. Okay, can we get some water out your hose? Yeah, go get water out the hose, whatever, yada, yada. We used to do things. I was telling Timmy Whispers this. Like, we would be outside. We never wanted to go back home because if we went back home, your parents made you stay home. You had only a certain amount of time you could be outside. We had to be in before the street lights came on. But if we kept going in and out of the house and making the cool air leave the house, we had to stay in. So we never went back. No kids ever went home. So we'd be playing in an open field, and then there'd be like a stream of water, And so you'd be playing, you're hot, you're like thirsty. And then what you do is we just drink out the stream. And not know anything, but let me tell you something. It probably built up my immune system.
Oh, yes, it did.
Yeah, it probably. Knock on wood, I haven't been sick, so maybe we did something right back in the day, drinking out the stream. But then we didn't think about this. Maybe what if some animal, went to the bathroom there. We didn't think that though, because when you see the stream, like we didn't drink dirty water. It had to be clear water.
Oh yeah,
it had to be clear water. Well, so if you see clear water coming through, it was okay to drink.
Yeah.
So we did it.
Yeah. No, as long as it's clear.
Yeah.
I was following you. I was going to say it's very interesting how on the south side of Chicago we played the same games you did all the way up to the stream.
Yeah. No. Took a wicked turn there.
Yeah, no.
But that's country. That's country boys. That's
we drank out of the hose, but my brother would hold the hose and, hey, it's your turn, and then he squirt me in the face. Yeah, couldn't. So I gave. You
don't see stuff like that. I mean, like we would have phone calls. Like if we wanted to go watch, because we in Oklahoma, it was OU football, and then it was the Dallas Cowboys. Those are our two teams. So if any one of those teams were playing, we all were in the house watching those games. But when that game was over, it was automatically known by everybody. We're meeting at the field, 3:30. Yeah. We're going out there, and everybody was there. There was no let's arrange a play date. Let's schedule something. We just knew, and we
was understood. Yeah,
and we played on fields, Mark. It had rocks and stickers on it, and you were getting cut up when you come home. You didn't care,
no.
And then we would play crosstown kids. Like we'd get on our bikes and have road trips. Like we'd run, ride 15, 20 miles because these kids all went to school, and there'd be a lot of jaw jacking in class. We'll beat you in street football. We'll beat you in basketball. All right, we'll be there on Saturday.
And you ride in,
and we ride on our bikes like a bunch of like Unforgiven. We're coming in, we're coming in, and we would play these guys. And as you got older, it became money. Before it was just pride and, my neighborhood against your neighborhood. But as you got older, it became money. And we were playing for money.
Back to the criminality.
Yes, that hurt. Hey, listen, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was all legal back in the day. We didn't rob anybody, but, and then how about this? See, all these stories just bring back memories. Like, remember when you used to go to a grocery store and your parents left the car on? And they left it running.
Yeah.
Not
Remember
on
those
the south
days?
side of Chicago.
Well, yeah, probably. Yeah. Not on where you from.
Sorry.
But when we grew up, you could leave the car running. There's a lot of things kids could leave their neighborhood and not worry about being snatched up by some crazy person. You know what I'm saying? And there was a neighborhood watch. I mean, it was just, it was so innocent back in those days. It's not the same anymore.
Speaking of being snatched up by some crazy person, some of you probably wondering, Stacey invoked the name Timmy Whispers. Where's Whispers? Normally by this time he's dropped some kind of double entendre that everybody's going, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
Whispers.
Well, he's back in Florida for the second time this winter, enjoying some R&R.
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice to be a man of leisure. So
be nice.
Timmy Whispers is on the poster. You can see him over John's shoulder, and he will be back again next week on the Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to do rapid fire on some of the other stories making news in the world of sports. Well, I tell you, Off the Wall never disappoints. We get Stacey telling stories about his childhood growing up in Oklahoma. You never know what he's going to reveal. That was some great stuff there. Now we're going to talk, get back to the old sportsaroo. We're going to go rapid fire. Hey, a new sound effect. That's some pretty good stuff.
Oh, wow.
Oh, popping it.
Hey, the NFL is in center stage. One of the big stories. Stacey, growing up in Oklahoma, were you a Cowboys fan?
Yes, sirski.
Dak Prescott, he got paid. He got the biggest contract they've ever seen in the NFL. $160 million over 4 years, $126 million guaranteed, a $66 million signing bonus. And after all this, they've been feuding for almost a year. I guess Mr. Jones took care of old Dak. You were born too early, Stacey.
You know what? I'm for everybody getting their money. Okay, but when you're talking about football, when you make that type of money and you designate that type of money to a quarterback, okay, it takes away from the rest of the team. Okay, how many games has Dak Prescott won? What's his record? What's his playoff record? That's the kind of things I'm looking at.
He's 1-2 in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm looking at how many times have been to the playoffs. I mean, what's his record? What's the record of the Cowboys over the last 10 years, John? I know we were talking about this.
A lot of losing seasons.
Yeah, we looked at it. The last 20 seasons, they've been 500 or below 10 of those 20.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, you have quarterbacks in this league, and I know Tom Brady, is a rare breed, but you have a lot of these guys who are taking less money to build their team up. And they understand in order to win a Super Bowl, to win a championship, you have to have balance. You have to have the pieces to win. So therefore your defense, you have to be able to spend some money on your defense, your special teams, your offensive line. I mean, things that are so important to protect that quarterback. And so when you see these guys getting paid all this money at the quarterback position, how can they even complain when they're getting sacked?
Well, you said, who was it that took?
Oh, it was Deion Sanders. I was listening to Deion Sanders a couple of days ago on a podcast, and he made an interesting comment. He said the quarterback wears the C on his chest for the captain. Okay, but when things go good, he's always in the front. When things go bad, it's the front office. This the blame. I don't have enough talent around me. Well, the reason why you don't have enough talent is because there's no money to give someone else. So. Yeah. That is really a problem in the NFL. I mean, the NFL quarterback is very important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, make it seem like it's not that important. But as we've seen over the last few years, team balance is important as well.
Continuing here on Rapid Fire, another quarterback in the news. Sound effect, Rich. There we go.
There you go, Rich.
We'll get it right.
So Dak Prescott is off the list of teams that Russell Wilson would accept a trade to. That's down to 3. One of them is the Chicago Bears. And I know a lot of pundits are saying, what could the Bears possibly come up with to entice the Seahawks to trade a franchise quarterback like Russell Wilson? But if Russell forces the issue here, I know that some of the Bears have been campaigning to get him over here, and he likes the idea of a big market like Chicago.
Forget Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson.
Forget Russell Wilson.
Wilson.
Forget him. Go after Deshaun Watson. I don't know what the Bears. Listen, Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback. Okay, but you got a kid who I believe who was a franchise quarterback in Houston. I believe that he's a winner. You heard Dabo Swinney talking about he'll be the Michael Jordan of quarterbacks, and I still believe that. You put him in a system, let him play football. He makes plays. His teammates love him. He's played with minimal talent over the last couple of years. You got rid of all his good players, and he's still putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And so if I'm the Bears, that's what I would do. I would try to get some kind of package to get him because he's younger, and to me, he's got a bigger upside.
Bears slapped the franchise tag on Allen Robinson, their star wide receiver, which I think he's going to get paid the average of the top 5 wide receivers, about $17 million for next season, unless they can work out a long-term contract. They basically had to keep this guy. He's one of their few great offensive weapons.
He's one of the top receivers in the game, if you ask me. And it's not his fault that they can't get him the ball for him to operate like they did the year before. He's a big part of their offense. You can't let a guy like that walk. And, I would like to know, okay, with the franchise tag, you offered him, you gave him all this money. Like, how much is that guaranteed as a receiver? How much of that is that money guaranteed compared to
it is guaranteed.
So $17 million is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So that's what he's getting next year. Well, good for him. Good for him. If a quarterback can do it, give it to the receiver. Is there anybody else out there that needs to get paid and deserves it? Offensive lineman. We need to get some offensive linemen paid.
We talked about Stacey's Oklahoma Sooners earlier in the show. Conference tournaments going on across the country this week. Did you catch the mask that Ayo Dosunmu was wearing for Illinois? Now he looks like the Green Hornet or something.
Yeah, he does.
He says it makes him feel like a superhero.
Yeah.
Well, LeBron tried to wear that and they wouldn't let him.
Right.
The NBA, they wouldn't let him wear it, but it looked pretty sweet. Like, I had to admit, it looked pretty cool.
It was cool. He even showed up with that to the news conference. He still was wearing it. It made him feel so strong and powerful.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. I will admit, that looked really cool.
That was a big win for them too, right?
Illinois is up to 3rd in the latest AP poll. They beat Michigan handily last week, and I think this is a team that could be dangerous in this tournament because of the fact they have that inside-outside balance. This backup point guard, this Andre Curbelo kid, he's flashy with the ball. He's got really good handles. They got to get some guys to make some outside shots. I think that's their one potential weakness. They played Baylor early in the year. It was a close game, and Baylor won. I think Gonzaga is the team to beat, but who else do you think could be a dark horse outside of the Gonzaga-Baylor 1-2 punch?
Well, I really think Oklahoma.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. Hey, don't get mad.
It's on the banner.
It's on the banner right there.
Yeah.
I'm always repping my Sooners, okay? So, let me, being honest, the Sooners, but I'm going to be also honest again. I like Michigan. I think Michigan will travel well. They'll be in a bubble situation, and that's going to be weird for a lot of these kids, being in a bubble situation. I know they play without some fans in the arena, so they're used to that. But being in one location for the whole tournament, that's going to be really weird for a bunch of guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're going to see some teams probably not be able to
make the adjustment.
You saw that in the bubble with the NBA.
Yeah.
Guys were complaining about it, and
Paul
I didn't feel like, playoff Paul.
Hey, I just want to go back to something because I haven't really said much, but I wanted to.
Thank you. What do you need to talk about?
What I was just going to say, I agree with a lot of things you say about the NFL. We see things through the same lens, and looking at Deshaun Watson's numbers, this guy started 53 out of 54 games, 104 touchdowns, 36 interceptions, 104.5. I think the king is right. That's the guy you want.
Oh, absolutely. It's just going to be so hard to get him. I don't think the Bears could put together a package to get him.
Well, whatever you got to do
with 4 number 1 picks.
Whatever you got to do to get him.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, even if you, I know the number 1 picks. You know what? The value is at 3, 4, 5 in the later rounds. Number one is not. It's sexy. It's sexy, but it's not value.
It's not championship.
It's the later rounds where you get the Hall of Famer,
especially in football.
In football, that's in the NBA first round. Yes, okay. Maybe baseball. I don't really know about that, but maybe. But in football, it's been proven. Hall of Famers come after the first round.
Big time.
So there's been some guys late, in the draft turn out to be Hall of Famers. So what? You got to give up 4 future first round picks? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
You got a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and Ryan Pace will be out of a job in a year if he doesn't get it right anyway.
Well, listen,
you might as well trade those picks.
Go
for it.
A lot of people didn't think he got it right with Trubisky. And this is his opportunity because he had an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson in the draft. He had an opportunity to get Patrick Mahomes. So now this is an opportunity for maybe him to correct a wrong and get the quarterback that he needs that could take them to the next level. I'm still a Trubisky fan. Don't get me wrong. Hey, Mitch is my guy. But if I got a chance to get Deshaun Watson, I'm taking that shot.
If only they would have taken Deshaun out to dinner that draft year. You know that story, that they had extra time with Mitch and they met with Patrick Mahomes. They never had a private meeting with Deshaun Watson.
What?
That's why the Bears are in the situation they're in right now.
Are you serious?
That is the story.
Is that
they
like
did
Jerry
not have a
Maguire?
private meeting with him. So
they didn't have a meeting with this
so
kid?
I'm not sure if Deshaun would be all that excited about playing for Ryan Pace. So
wow.
But that's the story. Yeah.
Oh, man, I did not know. See, we learn all these inside stories, from Mark Shanowski. He's got his ear to the streets.
He does.
All right, that's gonna bring it close to rapid fire. Let's get the rifles back out as we get ready to take it on the down low. That's next on Give Me the Hot Sauce. We are having so much fun here. We want to thank our sponsor, Bubble Up, the Cloud Reimagined. Bubble Up is the new way to visually organize any kind of content all in one place. So we appreciate their support of the show. Again, you want to check out that Bubble Up roll that John and Susie put together every week. It takes you behind the scenes of our planning as we go into Give Me the Hot Sauce, gives you more information on the topics we talk about, a chance to organize all your files in one place. So check it out. The Bubble Up roll, always a part of Give Me the Hot Sauce. As is on the down low, you never know what's going to come up this week. One of the things we noticed when we were looking at the calendar as we check in the Bubble Up file is that March 8th was the 50-year anniversary of Ali Frazier 1. I'm older than you guys, so
Here we go.
I listened to that fight on the radio in my parents' bedroom.
You are old.
Yeah, you are old.
So the only way you could watch it is if you had to go to a theater, watch it on closed circuit television.
You are old.
Yeah, you.
Wow.
I thought he was going to say he's in Vietnam in a rice paddy.
I told you I wasn't eligible for the draft.
Oh my God! I can just see Mark with one of those big radios listening.
Yeah, I was listening to the fight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man, you are old, man.
Yeah,
you don't look it though.
I was a big Ali fan, and it just crushed me when Smoking Joe knocked him down in the 15th round and got the decision.
Yeah, but wasn't that after he was out of boxing for a couple of years?
He got a couple of tune-up fights, but
yeah. That I don't count that as a loss. I don't,
because he took care of business the next two times.
Yeah, and I mean, but to his defense though, I mean, he never ducked anybody. Joe Frazier never ducked anybody. That era of boxing was the golden era. The best always fought the best. And that's what's lacking in boxing today. You go back to the Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. You go back to Salvador Sanchez, Danny Red Lopez. Oh, man, you look at all these great fighters. They always fought the best in their prime. They didn't wait till they turned, 20 years past.
And they
their
fought
prime.
a lot too. It wasn't like one fight a year.
No, it was a multiple times they fought, and I think that's why there's such a huge fan base for boxing. Even now, even though they don't fight, I mean, you see a guy like Floyd Mayweather, who I love Floyd Mayweather, but he didn't fight Pacquiao when he was at his height and you were at your height.
No.
And I would have loved to see that fight when both of them were at their highest level and in their peak, their prime, how that would have turned out.
You guys remember seeing the clips of the George Foreman, Joe Frazier fight where he was literally knocking him around the ring?
Yes.
That was one of the most frightening exhibitions of heavyweight punching power I've ever seen.
George Foreman was like the original Mike Tyson, but bigger.
Yeah.
Like George Foreman went in there literally trying to hurt you. And it's so funny now when you go back and you see George Foreman's transformation from being this bully, this mean guy, to this sweet, lovable.
The selling grills?
The George Foreman grill.
Yeah, but if you go back and there's a story, the George Foreman story. I think HBO has it. You should check it out. It's really awesome, and it goes back to when he won the Olympic medal, and where he grew up in Houston, Texas, very poor. I love those kind of documentaries, but it's something that I think our listeners should go check out.
George Foreman was a puncher.
Oh my goodness,
no doubt about it. And I can remember sitting in my apartment and he fought Jerry Cooney, and the guy I lived with, he was a huge boxing guy. He matter of fact, his family bought the Ali training facility in Pennsylvania. So they bought that whole thing. But I remember he went to grab a piece of pizza and he turned around and Cooney was on the mat. And he's like, "What the heck happened to Jerry Cooney?"
It's like a Tyson fight.
Yeah.
it's over before you get in your seat. So I guess you guys have some man code violations you want to talk about? What's
John, you have a man code violation?
What? Man code violation. What man?
I'll tell you man code violation.
Yeah, what?
I just had one recently. Okay.
What's that?
Okay, so I'm not gonna give any names.
Code violation.
I'm not gonna give anybody names, okay? So being an athlete, you make a good play, somebody slaps you on the butt, good play, way to go, and you can deal with that because that's just what you do as an athlete, you know what I'm saying? But when you're like 50-something years old and someone comes up and slaps you on the butt and says, "Man,
whoa.
yeah,
Not the party we're looking for.
That just happened. That just happened to me.
Wait,
somebody slapped me on the butt.
Whoa, you get a lot of weird and like.
Listen, I'm just saying, man. Somebody, it's a friend of mine.
A friend.
Yes. He may not be a friend anymore after this. I felt violated.
You remember it's like here.
Listen, man. Listen, don't even go there, okay?
That's after he shoveled the King's driveway.
Okay, see, you go see. I'm not messing with you right now.
Snow's melted. It's gone.
He can't work down.
Timmy will be so proud of you, Mark.
Yeah. So before I was really interrupted by Schnowski and his comments, yeah, it happened to me. Man code violation. Yeah.
That's more than a man code violation, I think.
Just my friend walked up to me. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Because I know COVID, you can't touch people. I get that.
Yeah.
Now you're giving elbow bumps and stuff. So he just came up to say, "Man, you're doing a great job. Boom, I really love listening to you and Adam, on the broadcast."
Yeah, it's totally uncalled for.
So I was like, you know how you get like a scratch sign?
Buy me dinner.
I'm like, yo, what is going on here? I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, that's a man code violation. Like,
big time.
You could have just easily told me that.
Violation.
Like, he literally, it was like I was in a game.
Yeah.
He's like, "Man, you would have had a pow, doing a great job."
Hey, I've seen several man code violations at the health club recently.
Yes.
I always think of the King when we talked about the man, and it's like I just go put some clothes on. I just say that.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, I do. Because I'm like,
Wow.
Put some clothes on. Clothes, please.
What? So you're saying? So wait a minute. So naked people are walking around,
Yeah.
and you're just bullying them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, put some clothes on.
Yeah. Well,
Put some clothes on.
what would you do? I mean, what would you do?
I think what you should have done is put a cigar in their water bottle. That seems to be your number one move.
Yes.
I'm just like, you know what? Put some clothes on. You're not at home.
But don't you feel like, seriously though, don't you think that's like too obsessive? Like, don't you think that's like really out of line? Like, I listen. No, I mean,
I'm out of line.
No. Anybody's out of line. Like when you're walking naked in the health club, and like for instance, you're on a bench, you're tying your shoe, and then here comes a guy bending over, butt ass naked right next to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I'm like, yo, man, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, can you give me a little space here?
Right.
Little space.
Thank you.
See, I don't like that.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, there's been at the health club, you'll see a lot of man code violations.
A lot
of man.
Too many.
I almost want to put a sign up saying, man code violations are being watched.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have the suggestion box. Maybe they can do a man code violation box.
I'm telling you, dude. I've seen a lot of man code. That's why I hate going in the locker room. I just rather go home sweaty. It's like I'll just take a shower at the crib. Man. I'll just dry off, pat dry, get dude wipes, wipe myself down.
You don't want to go through that emotional.
And I'm going home. It's emotional trauma. I don't want to go in there, and I don't want to see somebody sitting butt ass naked on leather furniture watching TV.
What was the line he said?
The guy goes, "Hey,
do you want to see anything else?
You want to see anything else? Like, go put some damn clothes on. That's what I want to see." Yeah, man, I'm telling you, boy. If anybody else has any man code violation, please put them in our box. If you have been violated by if you've been violated at any cost, put them in our boxes. We like to know, and we will read them on our show about the man code violations.
Hey, before we get out of here, we want to thank Rich for being a trooper, helping set up some new equipment.
It's just so
and we also got to get the inside story of Chuck Swirsky's victory dance. Are you the guy videotaping now? Take a microphone over there.
Yeah, come on, Rich.
Do you have to help out with that?
Yeah, let's.
Yes, I do.
It's awesome. It's fun.
Now, does he plan this ahead of time? Does he choreograph the moves, or is it
Sounds like
just
a
kind of
man
a
code
spontaneous?
violation.
That might be a man code violation.
Yeah, he does coordinate a dance to it, and we picked some songs together, and he found the best one that he likes, and so we're kind of doing it that way.
Does he ask you for feedback before the performance? Like, Rich, what do you think about this? Should I incorporate some dribbling into it, or
It's his bit. I let him do his thing. He's an artist, and I'll let him perform.
He's an artist.
the artist,
he's an artist.
formerly known as Chuck Swirsky?
Before he has to go
there
back
you
to
go
the home.
on the down low. We got the inside story
Inside scoop with the great
that you
Chuck
can only
Swirsky.
get here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. So,
Keep dancing, Chuck.
Rich, thanks for your help.
Take us out, Rich.
And we want to thank Jamal Crawford, our special guest on episode 19. Next week on Gimme the Hot Sauce, another headliner, BJ Armstrong, is going to join us. That's going to be a lot of fun. Talk about stories about playing with Stacey King. He also represents Derrick
Rookies
Rose.
together, right?
That's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
All kinds of stories. Boosting people over a fence. And, you know,
we had some great stories, me and BJ. Great stories.
that's coming up next week on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Thank you so much for listening. Again, you can always find us on YouTube as well. Coming at you with a new show again next week. Stacey. Drive home.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had too much of John's drink. I was in La La Land for a little. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, America. Hey, drive home safely. Beep, beep. There's a cutoff here. Is there a cutoff here? Cut me off, please.
The 2-drink limit, baby.
Yeah, forget the 2-drink minimum. It's 2 drinks. It's all you can
That's
take.
it.
Give me the hot sauce.